Patricia Louise Holt, known professionally as Patti LaBelle, is an American R&B singer and actress. She has been referred to as the godmother of soul. She began her career in the early 1960s as lead singer and frontwoman of the vocal group Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. After the group's name changed to LaBelle in the 1970s, they released the popular #1 hit Lady Marmalade. As a result, after the group split in 1976, LaBelle began a successful solo career, starting with her critically acclaimed debut album, which included the career-defining song, You Are My Friend. LaBelle became a mainstream solo star in 1984 following the success of the singles If Only You Knew, Love, Need and Want You, later sampled for 2002's Dilemma, New Attitude and Stir It Up. Less than 2 years later in 1986, LaBelle scored a #1 album winner in You and its #1 duet single, On My Own, with Michael McDonald. In 1989, the standard If You Ask Me To, later covered by Celine Dion, was released on Be Yourself. LaBelle won a 1992 Grammy for Best Female R&B Vocal Performance for her 1991 album Burnin', an album that featured Somebody Loves You Baby, You Know Who It Is, Feels Like Another One, and When You've Been Blessed, Feels Like Heaven. She won a second Grammy for the live album Live, One Night Only. Her 1990s albums Burnin', Gems, 1994, and Flame, 1997, continued her popularity with young R&B audiences throughout the decade. She reunited with her LaBelle bandmates for the album Back to Now, which was followed by a well-received promotional tour. LaBelle also has had success as an actress with a role in the Oscar-nominated film A Soldier's Story and in TV shows such as A Different World and American Horror Story, Freak Show. In 1992, LaBelle starred in her own TV sitcom Out All Night. In 2002, LaBelle hosted her own lifestyle TV show, Living It Up with Patti LaBelle on TV1. In 2015, LaBelle took part in the dance competition Dancing with the Stars at the age of 70. LaBelle has also seen success launching her own brand of bedding, cookbooks, and food for various companies. In 2015, her Patti's sweet potato pie sold millions when a YouTube video praising the product went viral. As a result, over a 72-hour period, Walmart sold one pie every second. In a career which has spanned 7 decades, she has sold more than 50 million records worldwide. She has been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, the Hollywood Walk of Fame, the Black Music and Entertainment Walk of Fame, and the Apollo Theater Hall of Fame. She was included in Rolling Stone on their list of 100 greatest singers. LaBelle is a dramatic soprano recognized for her vocal power, modal register range, and emotive delivery. LaBelle was born Patricia Louise Holt in the Eastwick section of Southwest Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. She was born the second youngest child of Henry, 1919 to 1989, and Bertha Holt's 3 children, and the next to youngest of 5 children overall. Her siblings were Thomas Hogan Jr., 1930 to 2013, Vivian Hogan, 1932 to 1975, Barbara, 1942 to 1982, and Jacqueline Jackie. Her father was a railroad worker and club performer, and her mother was a domestic. Despite enjoying her childhood, LaBelle would later write in her memoirs, Don't Block the Blessings, that her parents' marriage was abusive. Shortly after her parents' divorce, when LaBelle was 12, she was sexually molested by a family friend. She joined a local church choir at the Beulah Baptist Church at 10 and performed her first solo 2 years later. While she was growing up, she listened to secular music styles such as R&B and jazz music as well. When she was 16, LaBelle won a talent competition at her high school, John Bartram High School. The success led to her first singing group, the Ordettes, in 1960 with schoolmates Jean Brown, Yvonne Hogan, and Johnny Dawson. With LaBelle as the front woman, the group became a local attraction until 2 of its members left to marry, while another was forced to quit the group by her religious father. In 1962, the Ordettes included 3 new members, Cindy Birdsong, Sarah Dash, and Nona Hendrix. The latter 2 girls had sung for another vocal group which was defunct at the time. In the same year, they auditioned for local record label owner Harold Robinson. Robinson agreed to work with the group after hearing LaBelle sing the song I Sold My Heart to the Junkman. Initially, Robinson was dismissive of LaBelle, believing her to be too dark and too plain. Shortly after Robinson signed them, he had them recorded as the Bluebells, and they were selected to promote the recording of I Sold My Heart to the Junkman, which had been recorded by the Starlets. It was recorded as a Bluebells single due to label conflict. The Starlets' manager sued Harold Robinson after the Bluebells were seen performing a lip-syncing version of the song on American Bandstand. After settling out of court, Robinson altered the group's name to Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. Robinson gave Holt the name LaBelle, which meant the beautiful in French. Initially, a Billboard ad cited the group as Patti LaBelle and the Bluebells. In 1963, the group scored their first hit single with the ballad Down the Aisle, which became a crossover top 40 hit on the Billboard Pop and R&B charts after King Records issued it. Later in the year, they recorded their rendition of the You'll Never Walk Alone. The single was later re-released on Cameo Parkway Records, where the group scored a second hit on the pop charts with the song in 1964. Another charted single, Danny Boy, was released that same year. In 1965, after Cameo Parkway folded, the group moved to New York and signed with Atlantic Records, where they recorded 12 singles for the label, including the mildly charted singles All or Nothing and Take Me for a Little While. The group's Atlantic tenure included their rendition of Over the Rainbow and a version of the song Groovy Kind of Love. In 1967, Birdsong left the group to join the Supremes, and by 1970 the group had been dropped from Atlantic Records, as well as by their longtime manager Bernard Montague. In 1970, Vicky Wickham, producer of the UK music show Ready, Steady, Go, agreed to manage the group after Dusty Springfield mentioned signing them. Wickham's first direction for the group was for them to change their name to simply LaBelle, and advised the group to renew their act, going for a more homegrown look and sound that reflected funk, rock, and psychedelic soul. In 1971, the group opened for The Who in several stops on the group's U.S. tour. LaBelle signed with Warner Brothers Records and released their self-titled debut album in 1971. The record's psychedelic soul sound and its blending of rock, funk, soul and gospel rhythms was a departure from the group's early girl group sound. In the same year, they sang background vocals on Lauren Nero's album, Gonna Take a Miracle. A year later in 1972, the group released Moon Shadow, which repeated the homegrown gritty sound of the previous album. In 1973, influenced by glam rockers David Bowie and Elton John, Wickham had the group dressed in silver spacesuits and luminescent makeup. After their third successive album, Pressure Cookin', failed to generate a hit, LaBelle signed with Epic Records in 1974, releasing their most successful album to date, with Nightbirds, which blended soul, funk, glam and rock music, thanks to the work of the album's producer, Alan Toussaint. The proto-disco single, Lady Marmalade, would become their biggest-selling single, going number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and selling over 1 million copies, as did Nightbirds, which later earned a RIAA Gold Award for sales of 1 million units, which was later inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame. In October 1974, LaBelle made pop history by becoming the first rock and roll vocal group to perform at the Metropolitan Opera House. Riding high on the success of Lady Marmalade and the Nightbirds album, LaBelle made the cover of Rolling Stone in 1975. LaBelle lost all 3 of her sisters to cancer before they turned 50, but despite immense loss, she's achieved great success behind the microphone, on the screen and even in the kitchen. Well guys, what are your thoughts? Do tell us. Thanks for watching.